Okay, think about this for a second. What's the very first thing you reach for when you wake up? And the last thing you look at before you go to sleep? Chances are, it's your phone. And it's all powered by this piece of software that, let's be honest, you probably never even think about. But it runs everything. Today, we're diving deep into that invisible engine, the mobile operating system.
Right? It's right there with you all day, every day. It connects you to your friends, your job, pretty much the entire world. But what exactly is that software that's running the whole show?
So, here it is. In simple terms, a mobile OS is basically the brain of your device. It's the master coordinator, the conductor of the orchestra, juggling everything from your phone calls and texts to your web browser and all those apps you love. I mean, without it, that super powerful smartphone in your hand is really just an expensive paperweight.
And the sheer scale of this, it's just mind-boggling. Take a look at this number, 1.22 billion. That's roughly how many new smartphones were sold globally in 2024 alone. Every single one of them running a super complex OS, all fighting for that spot in your pocket. But here's the thing, this world where it's just a couple of big players, that's actually pretty new. It wasn't always like this at all.
Nope. Before we had these sleek glass rectangles that all kind of looked the same, the mobile world was, well, it was a chaotic, creative free-for-all. It really was like the Wild West, with dozens of companies, and each one had a totally different idea of what a smart device should even be.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It was a true battleground. But it wasn't just a battle over which phone was the best, it was a battle over the very idea of what a smart device was supposed to do. Was it a digital organizer, a pocket-sized email machine, or just a regular phone with a few extra party tricks? Honestly, nobody could agree.
So let's meet the early contenders, right? First up, back in '96, you had Palm OS. This thing was the king of organization, and it made PDAs a total must-have gadget. Then came Symbian, a real powerhouse from Nokia and friends that was set to just own the early 2000s. Then 2002 rolls around, and boom, BlackBerry OS lands, completely cornering the corporate world with that awesome keyboard and secure email. And, Microsoft couldn't resist, so they jumped in that same year, trying to shrink its massive desktop empire into Windows Mobile. And make no mistake, every single one of these was a giant in its day. But all that, this crowded, chaotic, competitive world, it was about to get hit by an earthquake, a massive one. The rules of the game were about to be completely rewritten, all thanks to two newcomers who saw the future in a completely different way.
And in 2007, that earthquake finally hit. You know what it was? Of course, it was the first iPhone. And this wasn't just another phone, you guys. This was a whole new category of device. Apple didn't just release a new OS, they introduced a fundamentally new way for us, as humans, to interact with our technology.
And the change was absolutely seismic. I mean, just think about it. We went from click-clacking on physical keyboards to pinching and swiping on these magical multi-touch screens. We went from having just a handful of built-in apps to the revolutionary App Store with literally endless possibilities. In what felt like an instant, the device in your pocket went from being a tool for calls and email to a full-blown internet communicator.
But just as Apple was building its beautiful, closed-off walled garden, Google and its partners launched a counterattack. Android wasn't just on one phone, it was released as an open-source platform. That meant any manufacturer could grab it, use it, and even change it. The battle for the next decade was officially on.
So, where did all that disruption and all that competition lead? You might think it led to more choices, more diversity, but it didn't. It actually led to a massive consolidation of power. It created the two-player world we all live in today. And this chart, well, it tells the whole story. As of early 2025, Android commands a staggering 76% of the global market. It's on phones at every single price point. Apple's iOS is holding strong with 19%, mostly in that premium space. And you can see a new kid on the block, Harmony OS, breaking through with 5%. Everybody else, they're barely even a rounding error.
For every winner in the tech world, there are a whole lot of losers. And the rise of iOS and Android was so fast, so disruptive, that it didn't just beat the old guard, it completely erased them.
Just take a look at these names. Symbian, the undisputed king for years. BlackBerry, the absolute icon of productivity. Windows Phone, backed by the biggest software company on the planet. And Palm, the company that basically invented the whole PDA category. These were all titans, and every single one of them failed to adapt to the new world of touchscreens and app stores.
So that brings us to today. With such a dominant duopoly, it's really easy to think the story's over, right? That the race has been won. But technology, it never ever stands still. So what's bubbling up on the fringes? And what might be coming next?
Even though the duopoly looks unbreakable, there are still some really interesting battles being fought. I mean, look at Huawei's HarmonyOS. It's actually managed to carve out a real market share and become a serious third player. Then you've got KaiOS, which is so clever, bringing smart features to millions of simpler phones and connecting a whole new generation of users. And the battle has moved beyond just the phone, too, with a huge fight for control of our wrists with smartwatches. And you can't forget the dedicated open source folks still keeping that dream of a true alternative alive.
And this is really the key takeaway from all of this. If the giants of the early 2000s, Nokia, BlackBerry, Palm, if they could be wiped out in just a few short years, then it proves that nobody is truly safe. As the quote says, history shows us again and again that today's empires can easily become tomorrow's ruins.
Which, of course, leaves us with the million-dollar question. Will this duopoly last forever? Is the next big disruption going to come from a player like HarmonyOS? Or a totally new kind of device we haven't even thought of yet? The only thing we know for sure is that the OS in your pocket tomorrow might look very, very different from the one you're holding today.